Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavallabha Giri Varadhari Gopi Janavallabha Giri Varadhari Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Raja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Giri Varadhari Yashoda Nandana Raja Janaranjana Yashoda Nandana Raja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Banachari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Namaskritya Naram Chaganarottamam Deving Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye Nashta Prayesha Bhavadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Can leave it here. Hard to turn it. Somewhere here. There it is. Okay, thank you. Okay. Today we are celebrating the appearance of Lord Narasimha, and we have just heard the account of the Lord's appearance based on the Srimad Bhagavatam account in the 7th canto. I would like to read a verse which I was asked to read and speak on, which is not from the 7th canto, it's from the 5th canto. So with your permission, especially the permission and blessings of the senior Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis. We can read from Prahlad's prayer to Nrsingadev in the 5th canto. It's one of my favorites, so maybe that's the reason I was requested to read this verse, to speak. And many of you will know it. No, it is not the verse that begins Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya. It is not that verse. It is the next verse. Svasti astu viśvasya khalaḥ prasīdatāṁ dhyāyantu bhūtāni śivaṁ mitho dhiyā manaś bhadram bhajatād adhokṣaje āveśyatāṁ no matir api ahaitukī. I'll read the translation, Srila Prabhupada's translation and purport. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhupada says, Prahlad Maharaj says, may there be good fortune throughout the universe, and may all envious persons be pacified. May all living entities become calm by practicing bhakti yoga. For by accepting devotional service, they will think of each other's welfare. Therefore, let us all engage in the service of the Supreme Transcendence, Lord Sri Krishna, and always remain absorbed in thought of Him. This is a very nice benedictory verse, and Srila Prabhupada explains in his purport. The following verse describes a Vaishnava. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitānaṁ pāvanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. We chant this verse a lot, don't we? Especially at a festival. There are so many devotees to offer respects to. It's good exercise also, bowing down to the Vaishnavas. Just like a desired tree, a Vaishnava can fulfill all the desires of anyone who takes shelter of his lotus feet. Prahlad Maharaj is a typical Vaishnava. Who is a typical Vaishnava? Prahlad Maharaj. Typical. He prays not for himself, but for all living entities. The gentle, the envious, and the mischievous. He always thought of the welfare of mischievous persons like his father, Hiranyakashipu. Prahlad Maharaj did not ask for anything for himself. Rather, he prayed for the Lord to excuse his demoniac father. This is the attitude of a Vaishnava who always thinks of the welfare of the entire universe. Śrīmad Bhagavatam and Bhagavata Dharma are meant for persons who are completely free of envy. parama nirmatsaranam. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays in this verse, khalaḥ prasīdatāṁ. May all the envious persons be pacified. The material world is full of envious persons, but if one frees himself of envy, he becomes liberal in his social dealings and can think of others' welfare. Anyone who takes up Krishna consciousness and engages himself completely in the service of the Lord cleanses his mind of all envy. Manaś bhadraṁ bhajatād adhokṣaje. Therefore, many of Srila Prabhupada's purports end, therefore. Therefore, we should pray to Lord Nrsingadeva to sit in our hearts. We should pray, Bahir Nrsimho, Hridaye Nrsimha. What should we pray? Narasimham Adim Sharanam Prapanye. Let Lord Nrsingadev sit in the core of my heart, killing all my bad propensities. Let my mind become clean, so that I may peacefully worship the Lord and bring peace to the entire world. Srila Prabhupada has more to say. Shall we hear what he says? He refers to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. He says he has given us a very fine purport in this regard. Whenever one offers a prayer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one always requests some benediction from him. Even pure, that is, nishkama devotees, pray for some benediction, as instructed by Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Shikshastakam. Ayi nanda tanu jakinkarang patitang mang vishame bhavam buddho. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet, somehow or other, we would always like to know how, isn't it? Prabhupada says, somehow or other, I have fallen into this ocean of birth and death. Please, pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. In another prayer, Lord Chaitanya says, Mama janmani janmanishvare bhavatad bhaktir ahaitukī tvayi. Life after life, kindly let me have unalloyed love and devotion at your Lordship's lotus feet. When Prahlad Maharaj chants, Om Namo Bhagavate Narasimhaya, Namaste Jaste Jase, Avir Avir Bhava, Vajranaka, Vajradamshtra, Karmashayan Randhaya Tamo Grasa Om Shraum. When he chants this, he prays for a benediction from the Lord, but because he is also an exalted Vaishnava, he wants, just before, in the same purport, Prabhupada said that Prahlad Maharaj was what kind of Vaishnava? A typical Vaishnava. Typical or exalted? Both, okay. Because he is also an exalted Vaishnava, he wants nothing for his personal sense gratification. The first desire expressed in his prayer is svasti, astu, viśvasya. Let there be good fortune throughout the entire universe. Prahlad Maharaj thus requested the Lord to be merciful to everyone, including his father, a most envious person. According to Chanakya Pandit, there are two kinds of envious living entities. One is a snake, and the other is the man like Hiranyakashipu. Two kinds of envious living entities. One is a, and the other is a man like, who is by nature envious of everyone, even of his father or son. Hiranyakashipu was envious of his little son Prahlad, but Prahlad Maharaj asked a benediction for the benefit of his father. Hiranyakashipu was very envious of devotees, as we saw, as we were reminded in the drama. Hiranyakashipu was very envious of devotees, but Prahlad wished that his father and other demons like him would give up their envious nature by the grace of the Lord and stop harassing the devotees. Khalaḥ prasīdatāṁ. The difficulty is that the khalaḥ, envious living entities. Another meaning of khalaḥ is mischievous living entities, and Prabhupada uses that word in this purport. Is rarely the difficulty is that the khalaḥ, envious living entity, is rarely pacified. One kind of khalaḥ, the snake, can be pacified simply by mantras or by the action of a particular herb. Mantro shadivasha sarpa kalakena nivaryate. An envious person, however, cannot be pacified by any means. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays that all envious persons may undergo a change of heart and think of the welfare of others. Prabhupada has more to say. Do we want to hear? If the Krishna consciousness movement spreads all over the world, and if, by the grace of Krishna, everyone accepts it, that's a big if. The thinking of envious people will change. Everyone will think of the welfare of others. Wow. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays, śivam mitho dhiyā. In material activities, everyone is envious of others, but in Krishna consciousness, no one is envious of anyone else. Everyone thinks of the welfare of others. Therefore, Prahlad Maharaj prays that everyone's mind may become gentle by being fixed in the lotus feet of Krishna. Bhajatād adhokṣaje. As indicated elsewhere in Srimad Bhagavatam, savai mana Krishna padaravindayoho, and as advised by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita, manmana bhavamadbhakto, one should constantly think of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Then one's mind will certainly be cleansed. Cheto darpanamarchanam. Materialists always think of sense gratification, but Prahlad Maharaj prays that the Lord's mercy will change their minds and they will stop thinking of sense gratification. Imagine, imagine this. If they think of Krishna always, everything will be all right. If they think of Krishna always, what will happen? Everything will be all right. Some people argue that if everyone thought of Krishna in that way, then the whole universe would be vacated because everyone would go back home, back to Godhead. Oh, such a problem, huh? However, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that this is impossible because the living entities are innumerable. If one set of living entities is actually delivered by the Krishna consciousness movement, another set will fill the entire universe. Oh dear. So ends Srila Prabhupada's purport. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin iti namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya-deshatarine Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare. I always feel like I'm put on the spot in this situation with so many senior devotees here. So I do request the blessings of the Vaishnavas. I will speak very briefly because we will hear from the senior Vaishnavas. It's actually nice to be in the junior position, isn't it? This is our philosophy. This is our theology. To be in the junior position. And we can say that this is also how Prahlad feels. Prahlad is in his prayers, to Nrsimhadev, after Nrsimhadev makes his dramatic appearance. We heard several of these prayers just a few minutes ago. In one of his prayers, he remembers his spiritual master. Who is Prahlad's spiritual master? Narada. Srila Prabhupada, there was a discussion with Srila Prabhupada one time about who is an advanced devotee. And Srila Prabhupada said, who is advanced? Narada Muni, he is advanced. So Prahlad appreciates Narada, but similarly we appreciate. Appreciate is a very bland word. We worship our spiritual master. Prahlad Maharaj gives the example of that. Evang janang nipatitam prabhavahi kupe kama vikama manuya prapatang prasangat ritvatmasat surarshina. And then I always forget the rest when I'm in front of so many devotees. So ham katam nuvisije tavabritya sevam. How can I forget my spiritual master? I have fallen into this material world, nipatitam, which is like a well. A well has, a dark well may have snakes in the well. Ahaitukī, he says. I am feeling as if I'm in such a dangerous situation. Prahlad Maharaj is remembering and praying to Narasimhadev to allow him to remember his spiritual master. And it's wonderful that he has learned from his spiritual master and remembered from him all that he spoke. As we heard, it seems that his mother, perhaps very much preoccupied with anticipation of being a mother, seems to have been distracted. But Prahlad had nothing better to do in the womb than to listen to Narada, and therefore he remembers everything that his spiritual master spoke. And because he remembers what his spiritual master spoke, he has become the exalted devotee that he has become. Such an exalted devotee that he desires nothing for himself. Does that mean that he has no desire? No, he has great desire. But what is his desire? His desire is for the welfare of the entire universe. That's what I would call thinking big. Srila Prabhupada was also thinking big as he proceeded to preach the Krishna consciousness movement, what he called the Krishna consciousness movement many times. It is a movement, and it is meant to move the world, and specifically it is meant to move the hearts of all persons in the world so that everyone will think of Krishna. They will think of Krishna, and they will think of each other's welfare. Thinking of everyone's welfare is not an easy thing to do as long as we are preoccupied with our own concerns, with the demands of our false identity. Prahlad Maharaj is showing the example that it is possible to think of the welfare of others. I like to invoke the memory of our very dear His Holiness Kadamba Swami Maharaj, who we may not be lamenting, but we may be grieving for his recent departure. That he would sometimes say that our Krishna consciousness movement has 3 dimensions or 3 floors. There's a ground floor, there's a middle floor, and there's an upper floor. The ground floor is constituted of organization, of manpower, of temples, temple buildings, of management, of money, of automobiles. Srila Prabhupada, when he saw the Volkswagen van, the brand new Volkswagen van that had been purchased when he came to Schloss Rettershof in Germany in 1974. He saw this brand new Volkswagen van. Devotees told him, "We just got this van." And Srila Prabhupada said, "Take care of it like you would take care of a newborn baby." Do you remember that? Yes. So we take care of all of these different aspects of the Krishna consciousness movement on the ground floor. And there is a second floor. The next floor up, and that is the platform, that is the dimension of our personal sadhana, our practices of Krishna consciousness. We make vows that we are going to practice Krishna consciousness, that we are going to avoid certain practices, certain activities. And in this second level of the Krishna consciousness movement, this is where we begin to take seriously the association with each other. And on this level, we are learning what we already know to some extent as children, perhaps. We are learning to be concerned for the welfare of each other. On this level of the Krishna consciousness movement, we come together and we celebrate the appearance of the Lord. Especially we celebrate here the appearance of Narasimha, especially on this day, because we want to remember that the Lord, as Narasimha, has certain capabilities. He has very sharp nails, and because of his sharp nails, he is able to remove all kinds of things from our hearts. Karma shayan, the desire for fruitive activity. He is able to remove all unwanted things from our hearts. He's able to remove all of our distractions. He's able to remove anything which is inhibiting us from focusing our attention on Lord Sri Krishna and Srimati Radharani. As one devotee in America has nicely put it, Amarendra Prabhu, he says, Radha and Krishna are completely absorbed in each other. They are perhaps not so much wanting to be distracted by our prayers. Oh Lord, please help me. I have this problem. I have that problem. I have this person giving me trouble. I have that person giving me trouble. I have this physical ailment. I have that mental ailment. Perhaps we should not bring those issues to Radha and Krishna. But Krishna he has everything worked out. He has everything nicely arranged. He expands himself into so many forms. And one of these forms is Narasimha. And Narasimha in particular, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur tells us, Bhaktivinoda Thakur installed the deity of Lakshmi Narasimha in Mayapur, specifically with this idea. We worship them that they may purify our hearts so that there will be place for Shri Shri Radha Krishna, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan Ki in our hearts. So the second level of the Krishna consciousness movement, here we are, we're experiencing. This is very wonderful. And there's a third level, as Kadamba Kanana Maharaj said, there is a third level. One way he explained it is the dimension of the Krishna consciousness movement in which Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is spreading Krishna consciousness all over the universe, whether or not we are involved, whether or not we are participating. It's happening. It's going on. It's taking place. Whether we see it or not, it's happening. Lord Chaitanya is spreading the Krishna consciousness movement. But Prahlad Maharaj, in particular, is inviting us with this prayer, I would say. He's inviting us to join not only in the ground floor and the second floor, but also in the third floor, to have this mood that Prahlad Maharaj has. This mood of wishing for everyone, even as Srila Prabhupada says in the word for word, almost everyone, the khalaḥ, meaning envious or mischievous, and in parentheses Prabhupada says almost everyone, that he is inviting us to cultivate that same attitude, that same mood. Let me wish, let me be a well-wisher of others. Let me become capable of thinking of the welfare of others. Not just those who are immediately in my circle, but let me think of others everywhere, all over the universe. Let me participate in that wonderful mission, that movement that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving us. And that is possible, Srila Prabhupada is saying, if we also incorporate this mood, starting with our offering of respect to the Vaishnavas. Vancha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha patitānaṁ pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. If we have this understanding of the potential of the Vaishnavas to have this desire for the world as a whole, then we become uplifted and participate in that same desire as Prahlad Maharaj. Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki, Shri Narasimha ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Gaur Premanande. Hare Krishna.